Why Kennedy and why not him?
You know what people probably are not aware is that even in 2023, I was supporting Honorable Kennedy Japon.
Okay.
But you see, I had to do it within the high plane of wisdom and respect also to my boss then.
Because you were still the PRO.
I was still the PRO.
You were under him.
Yes, and I knew my boss was aligned then to Dr. Bawumia. Recall, he was also pushing very hardly and lobbying for the position of the vice president, presidential candidate then. And indeed, he was very keen in those that were very close in getting the nod. And so it is only wise that you also have to apply some sense of modesty and wisdom in your decision making politically, so that you do not appear as to be working against his dreams, his ambitions, and his vision. But of course, as a human being, regardless, you may also have your own convictions. And of course, I have long held, had the view and the conviction that Honorable Kennedy Japon can help in the socio-economic transformation of our country, especially with his job creation agenda, which is not something that he only says, but there is a living testimony to that effect, where practically he's created jobs for the people of Ghana and many youth. So I really believed in that. I also believe that if we had any candidate that could have a better chance of winning the general elections, or that was well positioned to win the general elections, I mean, at that time I felt Kennedy Japon presented a strong outlook, and for that matter, it was only proper for me to align to his ideals based on the conviction that I carried then. And so yes, I was with Kennedy Japon, just I had to do it covertly, like I explained. I had to do the well balancing act, where I make sure I do not offend my boss. I also make sure that at the same time I'm also able to offer my support to Honorable Kennedy Japon then. So fast forward, he lost that election, and the subsequent election, it was now a level playing field. It was now an open field because we had lost the general election. Right. So every person had the opportunity to patch camp wherever he liked. Interestingly, remember my boss, Dr. Richard, previously was even supporting Dr. Muhammad Bawumia, but he also made a case of conviction where he made that bold step to also run for the position himself. So I don't think it was so remote for his PRO or his spokesperson then. And recall, at that time, my job and role as a PRO has ended. So all official relationship, properly so-called, had terminated. I had gone to him, thanked him, expressed my gratitude to him, and decided to move on. But of course, I am unable to pretend that I had signals that he probably may lace his boot to contest. But remember, I had earlier made commitment to Honorable Kennedy Japon in the previous years, and I had to stand by that commitment and finish with him by going for the next election. So when I started, people felt you've betrayed the establishment. You were previously with Dr. Duchu. People even felt previously I was with Dr. Bawumia because Dr. Duchu was with him. Yeah, so you betrayed us, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, not all chapters are meant to be read aloud. Sometimes you leave people to speculate, and especially when you believe strongly that you are doing the right thing, you leave a lot of things to time, and sometimes time will correct a lot of things. And I'm sure ultimately we can all learn from what has happened. I stood by my convictions. There are no regrets, but at the end of the day, we subscribe to a certain process, and there has been an outcome of the process. And when you subscribe to a process like that, regardless of where the outcome will go, out of good faith, out of good sportsmanship, out of respect to the process, you have to accept the outcome and move on. And I think at this stage, that is where we are, if you ask me.
Was he surprised when you actually switched camp, sort of?
I mean, from the explanation, I don't think I switched camp. I stayed glued to my camp, but he probably will be surprised because he didn't have full knowledge of where I was previously, based on how I conducted myself. Moving forward. And I said I had to conduct myself within the high plane of dignity, respect, and of course wisdom. Apply wisdom then. Well established. But was he surprised? It is only natural for him to be surprised. Of course, he made efforts to reach me. But you see, consistency is also one key when it comes to discussing the conversation of integrity. You have to be consistent as a person. You were with Kennedy Japon, you believe in his dream, you believe in his vision, you believe in his mission. You went for an election, he had 37%. You strongly convinced that the subsequent election he will do better. Not necessarily for the statistics of the election, but beyond the statistics, you are highly convinced that this is the gentleman who can transform the socio-economic fortunes of our country through job creation, through industrialization, and all the things that he was mentioning. So I'm not sure you should necessarily be swayed by maybe the feelings of party A or party B. I think what is important in a moment like that is how, out of respect, you manage the situation. And I think God gave me the wisdom to manage the situation. Well, if you recall, in most of my media interviews, I was pushed. Why are you disloyal? Is it that Dr. Dutum did not treat you well? But in all of them, there is no single tape anywhere in this world where anybody heard me making any negative or adverse pronouncement against the man. Because I knew that the election will come and go. He's somebody who had the opportunity and had impact in my life. And beyond the election, I mean, we'll still be living as party people. He's an adult. He can give. He's even older than my father. My father is 53 years, so he's older than my father. He can give birth to me. He had an impact on me on many spheres, in terms of professional growth, in terms of impacting wisdom, in terms of any other aspects of life. So I needed to really be balanced and measured even in the whole process that we were doing, and I was very conscious of that. There's even the more reason why you recall the preamble question. I still spoke so highly of him. I think it has more to do with individual convictions, individual aspirations, individual visions, and not necessarily on any bad ground or any bad turf. I used to greet him anytime I meet him. I mean, from his posture, it's natural that he wouldn't be so happy, because he obviously had an implication even on him publicly in terms of his political chances. I recall. Of course, I mean, that was just a hearsay that people used to say that, even if people used to tell that even your PRO did not support you, who are we to support you? So I later came to the realization the effect of my decision on his campaign, and it's something that I wish it hadn't happened to him, because I did not make the decision out of a bad faith. But I mean, sometimes reality happens, and all you can do is to move on and wish the person the best.
So I have a message here. Nathaniel Ibn says, one of the best communicators, and I do really agree that Kwesi speaks well.
I'm humbled.
And moving forward, all said, I mean, and done. I see, I don't know whether it's a community on its own from the camp of Kennedy Japon, the base. We'll go into that. I don't know what it is. There are a lot of speculations all over the place, that he wants to start something unique and something very different, on his own. I don't know whether he's even the one championing that agenda, or people like you, are the ones who are actually behind this whole agenda, the base. I still see the tension, the heat. Are you uniting anytime soon for 2028?
I believe it is undeniable that we had a very tense primaries a few weeks ago. And so after such a tense primaries like that, obviously you will need time for individuals and even the party collectively to heal and then come together as one and champion that cause. When there is a contest, you may have excesses where people may cross certain lines that ordinarily they shouldn't have crossed. But after every election, there is cooperation. We come together with one core vision and push that very vision or that very objective. But like you rightly stated, unity is not built in a day. Unity is not an event, is a process. So certainly I'm very convinced we'll get there. We are going through a transition as a party, and I'm not sure this is quite alien to the NPP. It's synonymous with every other party. if you recall, the NDC has been through such turbulent times. At some points, the founder's wife even had to fund her own party. Gusitano and Co, Kennedy Japon, Rollins and Co. They've all broken away from their party before, but there comes a time where they all come together in unison with one accord, and of course,
Nana never came back though. Kennedy,
but
so rest in peace.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the party still came together. But you realize that the people following her, most of them also came back to the party, and so it's a transition. It's a phase that every party goes through, especially after going through such a very devastating defeat. People may want to point accusing fingers. Is this person that did what? That person that did what? But there comes a time where the wave of unity becomes so stronger, and nobody can quench it. If you recall, even prior to 2016, when the NPP came into power, we had such situations in the party where even national elected executives were removed from office because of issues that I may not want to revisit. But of course, these are all public knowledge. There were instances which even led to the death of some of our regional chairmen, if you recall, the Upper East regional chairman, One Mahama, if you recall. But at the end of the day, the wind of change was so stronger that it overcame the seemingly division that was blowing under the party.
And that was in 2016.
That was in 2016.
NPP won.
There's still NPP won. And I give you an instance of the NDC too. Kennedy at some point broke off. Usitano at some point broke off, and there are a number of them. But still, NDC came to power when the time was right. So I believe that it has more to do with times and seasons. When the time is right for you to come to power, everything just aligns. But at the time like this, especially having gone through such a very tense premise, it is only natural that you have people who may not necessarily be happy with the whole process, with the outcome of the process, with how the process went. I mean, sometimes may not necessarily be how the process went, but sometimes the expectations from the process. And of course, you may also even have people who have won, and in terms of their conduct and utterances, may still not be aligned with the overall purpose of the party. But I am very convinced that ultimately, as a party, we'll still come together with one accord and push this or drive this agenda. I mean, it's natural. I'm sure if you had interviewed me the very day that we lost, my posture, my tempo, my adrenaline will certainly not be like how I'm sitting here talking to you. And 6
you
months
are overcoming
time,
gradually,
6 months time, 1 year time, 2 years time,
Should be
3
fine.
years time, every other person, I have that strong conviction that everybody will align.
You think so? Some people are pained, bitter, and I feel they may not reconcile anytime soon. And you have just next 2 years, and it's 2028.
Yeah. I mean, certainly politics is always done with numbers. It's a game of numbers. So I will not downplay people's sentiments, people's feelings, people's concerns. And it is even the more reason why we have leadership. So matters like this, usually when it comes to the attention of leadership, we all encourage everybody, not necessarily the leadership, but it's a collective responsibility on all of us to talk to one another, try to once again remind ourselves of the overall purpose of the party, the overall objective of the party. Once again, also remind ourselves that life is all about times and season. Tomorrow your candidate may go to election, maybe he didn't win. The next time he may win. You never know. But ultimately, there is one proven and established principle that we all do not dispute. That regardless of our differences, it is still better to be in government than to be in opposition. And so I'm sure at some point, even if we may not get necessarily everybody to align, we may get the greater portion to align. But of course, we must also admit that also depends on the kind of work that we will do as a party, especially the leadership of the party from all levels, from all angles, from the topmost to maybe the last person down there, the polling station executives, the constituency executives, the regional executives, up to the national executives, and probably even the flag bearer. I'm sure we are all duty burden to play certain role, certain responsibility when it comes to uniting the party. And I'm very convinced that now that the dust has settled or is settling, and we have a flag bearer in the person of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, I'm very convinced that he has the capable hands to unite the party.
Do you believe in his leadership?
Oh, certainly. You see, there is a difference between internal primaries and, of course, primaries general elections. These are two different primaries. The fact that I felt that maybe Ken had a better chance in winning the general election does not necessarily mean that if the party people do not select Ken, automatically I do not believe in Dr. Bawumia. I mean, it's a contest, and a contest, you may have somebody who has a superior strength in different spheres, different areas, different variables that comes to the table. And contest is an exchange of ideas. It's based on convictions. Ultimately, the party people have decided. They believe that regardless, Dr. Bawumia has a stronger chance in winning the general elections ahead of Kennedy or Japon. Of course, I mean, obviously and patently, that was not my position. I
You felt disappointed?
I think in the spirit of party harmony and unity, I wouldn't want to use that word. I would say that I respect the decision that
Kwesi Kwatin, you're a big man. Kwesi Kwatin,
stop patronizing me before you use me for headlines. I would say that in the spirit of solidarity, good faith, good faith, party harmony, I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I can only say that my expectations were not met, obviously.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I still respect the decision.
You're just speaking English. You were disappointed. You're just speaking English. It's the same thing.
At least I will not give you that headline. At least I will not give you that headline. I am saying that for the record.
Right.
Even though naturally,
right,
my expectations were not met, I respect the decision of the party. You know, in PR and marketing, they say the public is always right. Of course, they say the voice of the God is the voice of the people is the voice of God. Even though I have my own reservations, and I always make reference to the biblical case when the Israelites were determined to move in a certain direction, and God, even though he disagreed, had to sanction it. And of course, the results and the consequence was very devastating to the people of Israel. At some point, God had to permit the appointment of Saul as a king of Israel, even though God did not like it. Recall, initially, God himself wanted to be the king of Israel. And Israel had petitioned God through the prophet Samuel on many occasions. And God, at some point, got tired. He said, if they are determined to move in a certain direction, he stood aside and seconded their motion. And the result was very devastating. And so those moments will be there. But whichever way, whether you agree, whether it's from the permissive will of God or it's from his sovereign will of God, so far as our politics, the 21st century politics is concerned, when you subscribe to a process and the public or the people say this is the direction we are moving to, I think in the spirit of civility and good faith and good sportsmanship, you have to stay with the outcome of that process, even if you are unhappy about it. And I mean, for now, that is the position I find myself. I don't think that Bawumia is a bad candidate. No. I believe that Ken probably would have had a better chance than him. But now that the party people have decided
in the general election,
I mean, that was my belief.
Right.
That was my belief. But of course, that belief ends as soon as the party people decide. Because I am a member of the party.
Right.
And so when the party people say it is Dr. Bawumia, but rather not Ken, then I am duty bound to now follow the trajectory of the party, the decision that they've made, no matter how disappointed I may be as an individual. At the end of the day, it's a collective decision.
Right.
So we all have to take collective responsibility for the decision of the party.
How difficult is it working with Kennedy Japon? I mean, from afar, people seem to be very bold, a very hard man, a difficult man, someone who speaks his mind without fear or favor. You were and still very close to him. How difficult is it working with him?
Kennedy Japon is, what you see is what you get.
Okay.
So what you all see is how he is.
Oh.
Whether in public or whether in private.
So no pretense.
No. So you see him as a no-nonsense person. You see that he says his mind. You see he's bold, he's courageous. At some point, he may be too passionate, which people feel is temperamental. Because, I mean, Ken doesn't understand why this is supposed to be put here, but always you keep it on the ground and you give excuses. I mean, he will obviously react. And so I don't think there was much difficulty. It has more to do with understanding the boss that you are with.
Okay.
The likes and his dislikes, how he operates, how he functions, and then you align accordingly. And I believe if you align and have a proper understanding of the person, the personality, the character of Kennedy Japon, you should be fine working with him.
I see. So I have a message here, and this is coming from Peter. He says, "Boss, good evening. It is obvious that Baba Jamal and his NDC would win the Ayawaso East seat, but one thing that bothers me so much is the low voter turnout. This is a clear indication that people are getting fed up with the Ghanaian politicians who only seek the welfare of themselves and their families. NDC must sit up and work harder to meet the demand of Ghanaians, or else the exit point would be shown them come 2028. And he continues by saying, "What is the name of the man in your studio? He's so fluent, humble, patient, and truthful in his delivery. Unfortunately, he joined a political party that will not allow him to exhibit his dexterity at his youthful age. The worst of all is the camp he has aligned himself with. I wish him well." Peter, he's called Kwesi Kwatan. In fact, he is a lawyer. He's a spokesperson for Kennedy Japon. And so he actually complimented you, but believes that you've joined the wrong party and, of course, the wrong camp. Kennedy.
Well, I say that the Supreme Being God has a purpose for everybody's life. And I'm convinced that, if I do an introspection and have an overview of my life, I feel God has done so well in all spheres. As a young man growing from Domiabra in Ashanti Media, North District, coming all the way to Accra, becoming the spokesperson for the Minister for Education and the Ministry, becoming the spokesperson for the flag bearer, Honorable Kennedy Japon himself, as a young lawyer. By the grace of God, I've been able to establish a good relationships, good connections. I feel that I'm on the right path. In terms of my political alienations, it has more to do with ideology, convictions, and what you believe in. And I think at the right time, God himself will make everything look beautiful. But I appreciate his goodwill and good wishes.
King Chiron Richard Atibila says, "We are not happy because we still need Ken. We need Ken to come back. No Ken, no vote. And how is that possible? Because we are done with the election, so I don't know."
That's why I don't speak for him, so I will leave him to. I have no reaction on this.
I'm actually asking you, And then Kwesi Emmanuel says, "My role model, best communicator in Ghana so far. Boss, would you be contesting for PC again?"
The parliamentary elections.
Yeah.
I think hopefully I'm considering it very highly at my constituency.
And what's the constituency again?
Ashanti Media. Obviously, I will need to engage a lot of people. So far, it's going so well. But you know, this game, you don't just get up to go. You need to get a lot of things right in terms of finances, in terms of the right team to work for you. You also have to know that the grounds is also okay, fertile for you. You may have to also make a lot of considerations. And of course, those of us who have strong faith in God, you may also have to pray and get the direction of God. If the path is clear, why not? I'm young, we'll still explore. Who knows? Maybe one day the sun will rise again.
Are you looking at all the resources you are going to spend, and are you ready for all of that?
They say if you do not have resources, you have to be resourceful. So I may not necessarily have the resources, but we'll get the right people to put the right investments at the right time.
Okay, I'm glad you said you get the right people to put the right investment
at the right time.
Okay. Let me go back to some of the things you said prior to your internal elections.
Yes.
One of the things you said was that, of course, and you've mentioned that again, that Kennedy Japon is the only, presidential candidate capable of solving Ghana's core challenges.
Yeah, that was my conviction then.
Right. And you still stand by that.
No, you see, I want to take a harmonized position.
Okay.
Because right now there is a candidate that has been elected. So, for instance, if it gets into the news that you say that, Kennedy Japon is a candidate who can solve Ghana's problems, I mean, it will cast aspersion or indictment to the candidate that has currently been elected. So everything that comes from your mouth has to be well balanced,
right,
and it has to be well looked at. I mean, it was a conviction I held, I hold, and I'll continue to hold. But of course, I must also hasten to add that at a time like this, I believe that the NPP, which is being led by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, is also highly poised to deliver everything that Kennedy Japon could have delivered. And so I have 100% confidence in the candidature of Dr. Bawumia.
Right. Did you also mention that, after the elections, did you also mention that visiting Bawumia isn't mandatory? Did you mention that on any platform?
I think I laid a background.
Okay.
I laid a background, and I asked when did that become a requirement?
Okay.
Based on a question that was posed to me.
Star 103.5
and of course, it wasn't from a place of a bad faith. It was based on how the question was framed. But I think for me, what is most important for us now is that Kennedy Japon publicly acknowledged and, of course, conceded defeat, congratulated his brother, Dr. Bawumia, moved a step further to join even the party during the declaration of Dr. Bawumia, where he publicly pledged his support and full commitment to his candidature and everything, and of course his team coming on board to support Dr. Bawumia. But even beyond that, he directed his team, which is the communication team, which myself I had the privilege to be part, to even send text messages to every delegate.
Okay.
That at this time they should all support Dr. Bawumia. And even subsequently, he also did a video where he thanked the delegates, and of course also once again called for a united party. Of course, I mean all to support the candidate that we have now. And so I said that if the conversation is about Kennedy affirming his support to Dr. Bawumia by visiting him, then his conduct and utterances by the very things I have listed puts him in that light, that he's affirmed that position that is going to support Bawumia at every other point. And so based on that, I don't think it is really that contingent for him to move to his house.
Okay.
So the context has to be explained very widely. But of course, I mean, sometimes, the media, the sensation also sells, and sometimes people be...
So for instance, if this appears in a form of a quote card, you don't expect them to put all of that there. There's no space for that. So just 2-3 lines, well explained.
I get you. And I'm even unable to determine the editorials of media outlets.
Exactly.
Except that, you see, when the quote card also goes out there and the public has a certain understanding of what the quote card represents, which may not necessarily connote what was said within that particular context, that may also appear to be a miscommunication. And I think the balance always needs to be struck. You go and say this the following day. I remember I made some of these pronouncements on Asase, and the way they put it, it made it look like, recently, even beyond Asase one of the media outlets, there was a conversation about the fact that where was I during the Vars Day, and I said I was with Ken and his family. We had a lunch. And the lady proceeded to ask, Ken and his family on Vars Day. So what about your family? So that was the context. I said, hopefully this year we also hope to establish our family. Do you know that the whole interview the only thing they reported and gave more prominence was that I said I'm going to marry. And now Ghanaians,
I saw it.
Ghanaians said, "Oh, this guy has cash out from Kennedy Japon. He's going to marry." And what I do? As if I woke up in the morning, bath, iron my shirt to go and announce on TV that I want to get married. I said, "What is this?" And interestingly, my tailor sent it to me. Like he sent it. I said, "What is this?" He said, "Oh, on one voter rating platform, 4 people have voted already.
It's reached headquarters."
Yeah, headquarters. He said 4 people have voted already. And somebody I saw one of my friends that I was in school with. He took a screenshot of somebody's status and posted. The person said, "Why did this guy bring soup?" And people even attacked me that I think marriage is all about soup or something. I said, "Jesus Christ, is that where this thing has ended to?" And unfortunately, you cannot explain yourself.
I know, right?
You make it slide. It's part of the job.
Exactly, and I'm very, very glad you are seeing that it is part of the job. You're a PR person,
yes.
Just as I am, even though I am here. So it's just about the dynamics to it. Once you do understand the game, I don't think you should be so perturbed when some of these things, are out there.
Yeah, a lot of them you will not be worried, but I mean, there are some that sometimes. You're a human being. No matter how sometimes in your clothes
they hit you hard.
I mean, you're a human being.
You pick your phone and call. Why did you say this?
You're a human being. I recall with this context, people ask me how is Ken feeling? Why is Ken not public? I say, for God's sake. I mean, beyond the politics, beyond the hard Ken that we know out there, he's a human being.
He has a life to live.
Yeah, you go through a contest like this, you are reminded of all your sins. In a party that you served so well, and people that were close to you in parliament openly abuse you, mistreat you, make you look like a demon. Certainly, when you are left alone in your closet, no matter what, at least you have a deep reflection and even ask whether or not those things was worth that. If I recall, the last time when we were going to court, here in Kwaku Bakun's case, the defamation suit. And some few steps to the court said, and I'm going to quote him. Of course, I don't have his permission to say, but I mean, it's not a bad thing. He said, "Charlie, I'm the NPP in Tina. I told him some of the things that we did." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Oh, I mean, Mr. Bakon and co were having a discussion about how the party is engaging in Galamsey, and I think he was also fed that information." Who's the person's name? I think I want to wait.
That's fine.
It's still an ongoing issue.
That's fine.
That Mr. Bakun himself is also involved in. I'm saying for him, he thought it was a way of shutting him so that the man stopped criticizing the party and denigrating Akufo-Addo's image. Unfortunately, Mr. Bakun went to court. A very high-profile person in our party. You brought whatever information you have. Now come and testify. He said, I won't testify. And I mean, I asked myself, this Galamsey issue has no correlation with Ken, but he is now in court alone and has to carry his own cross. And no matter how hard you are, when you get into your own closet, at least your wife will look into your face. Your case will look into your face and say that this thing wasn't worth it. No matter who you are, no matter how hard you are. Let's even remove Ken from the equation. No matter what, you get into your own closet and your wife will ask you, were your party people there? Said no. Was your general secretary there? Said no. What about your acting chairman? Said no. What about maybe your flag bearer? Were the party sympathizers there? Said no. That alone itself will speak very hugely to you. And so I reckon I said, at a time like this, he's a human being. Let him have his own reflection. And I'm sure at the right time, we'll all come together strongly.
Did some of the things he said prior to the elections affect him? The things he even said about Bawumia and most of the things he said and all of that in the past, did they affect him going into the elections?
I want you to explain your question with clarity. Is it things he has said before the contest or during the contest?
No, before the contest. At a point he had to go hard on Dr. Bawumia. Of course, we saw all I don't know who did that production for him, where he was standing in front of the camera and then he said all the things he had to say about
the liar thing.
The liar thing.
That was during the contest, in the midst of the contest. That was not before.
Oh no, there was a video also before. Oh, the video was
that one was this year.
This year.
The one you called Dr. Bawumia liar.
Exactly, this year. So before the elections on 31st, I mean.
Okay, so if you say before the election, remember the context is not the election. The context is the whole process.
Oh no! So before the election day,
the
election day.
I say whether that affected him.
Some of these utterances, did they affect him? Because even as captured by Musa Dankwa and then some other posters, they mentioned that some of his utterances could affect him, and indeed, we don't know whether truly.
Well, you see, when you win an election, it looks like you never did a mistake.
Kwesi, hold on, I'm coming.
I'm going to answer you.
No, hold on.
Very well.
Let me quickly add this. At a point, did you tell your boss that, boss, please, you may want to calm down, slow down, because some of these things are really affecting all the hard work we've put in. So please just, did you get to that point of talking to him to calm down?
I mean, certainly you wouldn't expect me to give you every information that happened in the background. I've been doing this for a long while. So I'll come and say that, I called Ken Adon and told him that this thing is not good or what. So that, I mean, you should know. I won't
not precisely, but I'm saying, was there any conversation?
You are a good journalist. You are a good journalist. I know where you are driving.
Was there any conversation like that?
Let's answer your former question tied to this.
Oh, Charlie.
Let me say that if it has to do with stronger words that was used against the candidates, Ken also suffered the same from his colleagues in parliament, from his friends, from people that are even undeserving to even make certain criticisms about him. Of course, when it comes to our side too, we did not also do everything right. Like I indicated, it was a very tense election. A lot were not done properly. Of course, we also had a lot of things very right. But I'll say that ultimately, as a people, as a party, we have learned to move on. We have learned to forgive ourselves, and we have learned to reconcile, and we have learned to make peace. For me, that is a very most important thing. On the substantive question as to whether or not we are aware that certain utterances by the candidate or any other person affected our chances, I would defer to when we have done the postmortem of our elections. And I'm sure right now Musa Dankwa has taught us that a lot of the things that we have to do, it has to be scientifically based. Right now we don't have to speculate.
So you haven't done that yet?
Even if, I mean, certainly we are finding out. I would say even if such a process exists, we have not come to the end of such a process. So
have you even started?
Yes, obviously. I mean, when you spend such millions of dollars to run for election, you will certainly want to find out why those millions of dollars were wasted.
So you've started the auditing process already?
I should think all other candidates have started the auditing processes. I speak for at least
your camp. I mean,
I'm coming out of the first three candidates. I mean, Brian, for instance, I have a very good relationship. I know he's also started such a process where he want to understand and audit why he lost. I also know we've started such a process to also understand our performance. I'm not able to speak to Dr. Richum and Kennedy Japon because, I mean, for them, no more I say 1%.
Is the more reason why they need to also do some auditing.
Why you had 1%?
Yes.
Oh, but those
extremely important.
Oh, but those ones leaving me on the Facebook, I can tell them without even any scientific basis. I can tell them without any scientific basis. I can tell them. So I mean, the point is, until such a process terminates, I am unable to speculate that whether A or B affected him. But I mean, I do admit that as a team, it is not everything that we got right. Just like every campaign team, you may not get all the variables right. But I mean, imagine if Ken had won. I'm sure all these questions wouldn't have come up. Just like those who won, you remember, you may not even pose this question to them because you may probably think that everything that they did was right.
No, because in 2023, they got a higher figure.
Yeah.
And this time around, it dwindled.
Yeah.
So you still may want to find out what happened.
Hey.
You get it.
It is not out of place.
So
if you want to find
auditing is key in everything.
But even if you find, it's not everything.
Whether you've won or not, you need to do internal and external auditing.
I'm saying that even if we find something, it's not everything we'll share with the media. We'll share
of course.
What's supposed to be shared.
Of course. I mean, I do agree with you entirely, on that. You can't share everything with the media. It's the reason why even with the NPP itself, that report, performance report, I don't know if you have even cited that report.
No, they said it's a discrete document.
So how do you revamp the party going into the 2028 election?
The people who are supposed to...
Who are those people?
Do that.
Are you not a key player? How do you navigate through?
I'm an ordinary spokesperson.
Oh my goodness, MPP.
I'm an ordinary spokesperson who speaks for the party.
Oh.
Who speaks for the party. But you don't also expect us to wash all our dirty linen in public.
Nobody's saying that. But for most of the key players you engage, they'll tell you, unless they are deceiving us, they'll tell you, I've not cited any report.
Yeah, please, I would like to know more about how
103.5
Kennedy Japon was treated as far as he's an NPP member. So his spokesperson, I want to know, how are they going to bring Kennedy and his those people who love him concerning how Abronye and who they come to social media attack him personally? So can you kindly ask the man in the studio, how is Bawumia going to manage to get Ken along? And if he's able to do so, are they really teaching the young ones that if we don't agree with someone, we should attack the person's personality, or what is going on? Can they talk to their followers so that they teach the young ones proper politics, especially those of us studied political science? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling from Kaswa. For the very first question you posed, he is not with Bawumia, let me put it that way, for him to know how he's going to mobilize the other people to, unless you have an answer to that, but I don't know how.
This one should be directed to Miracles or Equia.
Exactly, and I've done that already. So
and what was the response? He said he's not going to give Ken and Brian free press.
Oh yeah, let's go beyond that, But let's go beyond that.
But you heard it was on your platform.
Of course, on it was just last week. It was just last week.
Okay.
But beyond that, he mentioned that they are doing everything possible to, bring everybody on board. And really, she mentioned that, But it was just the free press you heard, the free press bit.
No, I don't even want to comment on it. Let's proceed. It's fine.
But when you saw the video, because there wasn't a quote card in that regard. It was a video. When you saw it, what came to mind?
She did well. It was a good one. We wish her the best. So you were trying to defend her. It's a good one. We'll take it to Guinness Book of Record.
Okay.
Take it on CNN, all media platforms, and play. It was a good one. It promotes unity. I'll end it there.
Sarcasm to the highest degree.
Oh, why I don't believe it promotes unity?
That's fine. You can also call 055.
I mean, I'll just say that sometimes in our communication, a little bit of wisdom and modesty is required.
She didn't exhibit that.
I mean, generally, it's just an advice to all of us that a little bit of wisdom and modesty is required.
She didn't exhibit that.
I don't want to personalize it, but that some of the questions have my responses have really been measured about it, because as a PR person, you serve as a middleman between the reality and what the public ought to know. And sometimes it's not a situation that you are lying, but the information ought to be managed in a certain way for the greater good of all of us. I recall when I was at the Ministry of Education, and somebody called me, I mean, this was a person asking me to be very honest with the person. I said, let's assume hypothetically, I should come and announce on TV that all 17 food items in the schools are finished, so that every parent will now rush to the school to go and carry their order. That itself will bring a national security concern. So some of these things, I mean, no matter what you, as somebody sending an information, wisdom requires that you manage it or put it in a way that become reconciliatory and solves problem ultimately. You don't put the information. I mean, you are a doctor. Somebody comes, you say, "Hey, madam, the verdict." There is a better way of saying it. Madam, please sit down. Can I get you water? Then you ask a question. That's why you are a trained professional. But when you come on radio and after a tense election like this, your posture doesn't sound reconciliatory. It really doesn't augur well for us as a party, if you ask me.
The base, what is it?
Me, I came to speak for the NPP. I didn't come to speak for the base. You see, yesterday,
What, it doesn't exist?
you see, the people championing the base are not anonymous. They are people who has faces. So if
Do you know them?
I know some of them, just like you also know some of them. So
Has it been sanctioned by
I can give
Kennedy
you
Japon?
I can give you their contact. You speak to them. It's a question that you
Has
see,
the base been sanctioned by Kennedy Japon?
I will answer you, but
Thank you very
respectfully.
much.
I will answer you respectfully, but you see, today whilst I was coming, I was pondering over this question, and then I came to the realization that I am an Ankwanoma, a young man. I made them cry about for
it.
What is the reason? We went into a contest where I took side by campaigning for Honorable Kennedy Japon. I did my best that I could as a young man who served in that role, that capacity. We finished, of course, things did not align. I know my boss has not left the party. Even if you recall, the last video that he did thanking delegates, he had the party's flag hoisted beside him. That itself should tell you a lot of a message. But of course, there are also other young men and other party people, and of course other Ghanaians who still believes in the man's vision and believe that some way, somehow, if he didn't get the opportunity here, they are also mobilizing themselves, of course, in an anticipation, based on what I've heard on radio, in an anticipation that maybe some way, somehow, they can get him or convince him to come and lead them so that he'll be able to propel his vision. Yesterday, I also heard one of them, they are leading leadership, one of their leadership saying that even if Ken doesn't accept to lead them, they may also get another person to even lead them. So I find myself in the middle of such a situation where at the same time I need to manage the situation so well, because ultimately it's reconciliation that we need as a party. I don't think the conversation should rather be restricted or limited to whether or not there is a certain base and what they seek to achieve. The conversation should rather come from why is there even a base in the first place? Are there disgruntled party members? Are there people whose expectations were not met? Are there people who feels that the system has not treated them fairly? Are there people who feels that there some certain level of apathy in their own party? Are there people who are despair, who are living a life of hopelessness in their own party?
And you'll be answering all these questions.
Yes, so that leadership and of course all of us do find antidotes to some of these concerns of these people. We don't let it be that, oh, anytime Kwesi Kwarteng comes to radio, is it Ken who is sponsoring it? Is it Ken who is behind it? Yes, no. Today I come and say it's not Ken. The following day they will come and, of course, in an attempt to make the argument, they have to discredit me first. Oh, Kwesi Kwarteng is not even the spokesperson for Ken. He was, but not now. I came to speak on Ken's position on the base. I don't think I want to reiterate it. Whether or not I'm being honest or I have lied, Ken, thanks be to God, he's alive, he's not dead, and he's still in the country. If I lied with his name, he has the capacity to write a statement to say that I have not sent Kwesi Kwarteng to come and say ABCD. I am not going to talk about the base issues so much. I came to speak for the NPP, but of course I'm also unable to run away from its existence. But I will say that as a people, as a party, we should be more interested in the concerns that led to people starting such a body or such a movement.
Who are they?
They are Ghanaians. I've not seen any Ivorian or Nigerian in the base.
Are they NPP members?
I see Ghanaians. I think they are.
Star 103.5
you see,
FM.
I see the activities on social media like you see them.
Really?
Where they post, they are registering, they are doing this, they are doing this.
You are not aligned?
The flyer that you did didn't use a member of the New Patriotic Party. I am here. Remember, I called the producer. You see, some of me, my communication is so raw and transparent. I called the producer that please, let's try as much as possible to open the conversation.
Yes.
So that it doesn't
important.
become an MPP matter.
Yes.
So that then the people come and say, oh, Aquarium moto about you, but now radio so MPP assemble. No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Cocoa prices, we know the government has reneged on their responsibility.
Yes.
The SONA, the current Iran-Israel issues.
Very important.
These are all issues that I'm sure we will get opportunity to talk about.
We will.
But if I'm only restricted to the base, tomorrow everybody, Mitch, I'm not their spokesperson. I'm not paid.
I just raised the base conversation. It's not been even 3
I'm
minutes.
not paid. And let me also hasten to add and give and not necessarily a caution, but people make it present as though maybe every month I go and get a check from Kennedy Japon's house for being a spokesperson or something. I mean, it's a young man who believes in somebody's conviction, who worked for him. As at now, I still work for him. I am still a member of the party. I'm still part of the communications team. I believe that the party has made a decision. We all have to support Dr. Bawumia. So be it. But make it look, he's promoting himself. He's not even for Ken. Ken has not sent him. As if every month I go to Ken's place to collect money or I get paid for being a spokesperson. No, I'm not paid for that. I believe in him. I work with him, and on principles of loyalty, if you understand the role of a spokesperson, is more personal and intimate. Even if today I say I'm no longer Ken's spokesperson, my conduct and utterances will still affect him by virtue of having worked for me as a spokesperson before. So I recall somebody asked me if we are asked to be the spokesperson for one of the spokespersons of Dr. Bawumia, will you gladly accept me? I said, I don't think so. I would rather want to work for the party and Dr. Bawumia, but not in that capacity or not in that role. Why? Because spokesperson is an intimate and very personal position. And so you wouldn't want to be seen flip-flopping. Tomorrow you are here, today you are here.
No, but you've just as you mentioned, you've moved on.
Yes.
And so you are revamping
the party. Ken is still a member of the party.
So, no, but you see, this is quite contradictory because you said that you've moved on. You are done with the election. So, if you are given a new role, a new portfolio to perform, why not?
No, I'm saying that, I mean, that's what I'm saying, that I can serve in all manner of roles. But I mean, the spokesperson is so intimate and personal that if it becomes you see, context is very important. Hold on, context is very important. Context is very important. What is the context? The context is that in a very tense election, you are a spokesperson for the person A, and then all of a sudden you switch to the spokesperson of person B.
Internal matters.
But he has a spokesperson. I mean, by the grace of God, he has a spokesperson already.
No, if he wants to make you a part of that team,
I'll be part of any team that promotes NPP and our candidate. I think I want to put it like
that.
But
not the PR team or whatever it is.
No, I think the nomenclature of a spokesperson is what, based on the realities of the moment, I will feel I will appreciate that I will best serve in the capacity of maybe speaking for the party, communicating for the party,
and which not the candidate.
I mean, speaking for the party obviously means you are projecting the candidate.
Exactly.
But I mean, the whole nomenclature. You see, I always say context is very important. I came from a certain background.
I do appreciate it.
And the background was that spokesperson is a very personal position.
Yeah.
You don't just switch. Jettison, you are a spokesperson for this, tomorrow you are a spokesperson for that. I mean, it doesn't work that way. It's personal and intimate.
Maybe it doesn't work that way for you, but for me, I don't see anything wrong with that. But for you, no.
By the grace of God, Dr. Bawumia has a spokesperson, and I will work for the party. I will work for Dr. Bawumia. I believe in his vision.
Right.
I believe in the vision of the party, and I will do everything possible for Dr. Bawumia to win the election.
055.
I think that is what you should put on your code card.
No problem. I'll do it just as you've said. No problem. 055-2880-216. Let's talk about Ghana. Everybody's happy. I see a lot of people are happy about the way Ghana is moving. Are you happy?
Yeah, I think let me put it this way. I think the NDC started on a good note until this cocoa issue came in, where I feel that was a total mess. It was a miscalculation and administratively a poor decision from them. I'm sure the CEO could have done better. I get the whole idea that the party will try to protect him for the image of the party, but in any serious place he should have been fired because he failed the cocoa farmers. But I must also admit that in the other variables they've not done bad, especially the economy and maybe if you talk about the dollar to CD ratio and other things. But you see, there is one point that we all keep missing as a people and as Ghanaians. Do you know the misguided comparison that we always do? We compare NDC's current macroeconomic variables to when Akufo-Addo was leaving office. That will not be fair. Because when Akufo-Addo was leaving office, that was the post-COVID era, where we understood that globally there has been some global economic recessions and all the variables were looking south. So if you want to have a proper comparison in a very true perspective and a proper context, it should be Akufo-Addo's second year to Mahama's second year. That is where we have to compare the macroeconomic variables. But you don't pick Akufo-Addo's, let's say, his age for his 7th year and say, oh, inflation was at this digit, and for that matter, Mahama has been able to bring it to this digit, and it presupposes that Mahama has done better. No, he's just served 2 years. We don't anticipate that he ran the country into debt, because certainly if you wish doom for the country, you also become part of the country, and you also be affected by his consequences, the repercussions. So we obviously wish the government the best, but I don't think the government has done extremely exceptional. Comparing it within the right and situating within the right context, as in 2 years of Akufo-Addo's administration and the 2 years of Mahama's administration, if you do the comparison within that context, you realize that even within the macroeconomic variables and in terms of the policy initiatives, President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia still did better than President Mahama.
Now the 2 years, are we looking at 2017, 2018?
Yes, 2017, 2018.
2017, 2018.
Yes, you compare that to President Mahama's 2025, 2026.
Okay.
You compare the same time. Compare, you pick all in terms of agriculture, in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of job creation, in terms of the macroeconomic figures. You make the comparison and do the juxtaposing, and you come to the conclusion that all the variables point to the direction that Akufo-Addo and Bawumia-led administration then did better. But people, I mean, for instance, one thing that comes to mind readily is the tax. They remove betting tax, blah, 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 blah. But remember the first Akufo-Addo's administration, his first year, he abolished 17 taxes. So when people make it look like as if this guy has scammed and he's doing magic, blah, 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 they talk about, oh, he's scammed and he said he's able to end double track. Somebody came in his first year, was able to introduce free senior high school. And you think that was not a plus. But the person who came in an aspect of free senior high school, which in any event is not even a problematic, it was an innovative response to address the search. Because with open access, people don't want to give acknowledgement to the past administration because of what? But I understand. The last 4 years was very tumultuous. Things were not that good. Even as a people, in terms of our economic outlook, we agree. Was that it was looking down south, and so it makes sense for people to have a memory of those moments and then compare to the current happening. They say that, well, dollar is this, dollar is that, because they pick it that it was 1:17, but they forget that in 2017, 2018 it wasn't 17. So when you pick the first 2 years of somebody's administration, you should be able to juxtapose it with another, the person that you are comparing, that previous government, is 2 years. And I mean, that's where I find fault with our communicators. It's just a blanket argument that a simplistic argument that they've allowed the NDC people to do. Comparing Mahama's 2 years with Akufo-Addo's 8 years or last 2 years. It's misguided in the first place. The true variable that can be compared is the first 2 years against Mahama's first 2 years. Other than that, you'll be making the argument if you ask me.
Let's look at the various sectors, from agri to energy to the various sectors. Which of them do you think is doing quite well?
I think largely it's been the economy.
Okay.
It's been the economy. Okay. The economy is very easy to test because of the dollar ratings and the foreign exchange. Imagine when we were leaving office, it was around 16 to almost 17. At some point, we even got to 17. And this guy has been able to bring it quite low. But you see, that is also artificial, especially if you look at the repercussions of the ongoing war and tensions within the Gulf community, the Middle East.
Yeah. So
anytime there is a war, I mean, this is a basic knowledge, especially with the communities like Iran the UAE,
Israel,
all of, those oil production, the Gulf countries producing oil. Obviously, it has an impact on the world oil price, because within that enclave alone, about 20% of the world's oil move from that area every day, especially with the passage of the Strait of Hormuz in Iran, where Iran has control. And Iran is now threatening that they are not going to allow any ship to pass there. So obviously, demand is going to go low. When demand also go low, it will obviously affect price. Price will also go higher. And that will have a consequential impact on every
the global market,
every other variable. So we should expect that very soon oil prices and fuel prices is going to
in fact, two verses were actually hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, the last time I heard a Doji, my friend, he said the only reserves we have is about 2 to 3 weeks. So the next fuel that will be coming, certainly the cost is going to go high. And then it has a consequential effect on all other variables, because cost is going to go high, blah, blah, cost is going to go high. When that happens, mostly, what a lot of people do is that they rather diverse their savings, because it affects the stock market. So quickly they push most of their monies into gold and dollar, because that has been proven to be more stabilized. And when the dollar gains strength, automatically the CD is going to be weakened. So this should tell you that this whole CD stabilization, we don't have absolute and total control of it. Of course, they were using the gold bond to stabilize it, but you see, we must also hasten to add that the other advantage is that right now most of people are also going to push their monies to gold purchasing. So this gold bond thing that they've done, probably if they're able to sell more tons, they can be able to help and balance it. But automatically, we obviously has an impact because of the ongoing wars, where you have an impact on oil production, oil transportation, oil sales, which obviously will have a consequential impact on any other variable, including the foreign exchange, because most people, because when the stock market becomes volatile, a lot of people will then push their monies into dollar buying. They will hold the dollar or push most of their monies into gold buying. And when people hold the dollar, the effect on the economy. Of course. So I'm sure in the next 2-3 weeks, if things does not reverse, I think the dollar may also hit about the 17 that will also happen to us.
And are you expecting the NDC to also to explain that because of that is why we are not able to do the things that we wanted to do, just as it happened to the NPP?
I believe we should get to a stage where, as a people, we should learn not to weaponize economic realities that we do not have control of.
But they did that to you.
They weaponize it, but they say 2 wrongs doesn't make a right. Of course, they will come with those explanations. I genuinely don't think they are excuses. They are indeed genuine explanations. But because our time, when we offered those explanations, recall that during the Russian-Ukraine war, when it was at its high peak, and I think there was also the impact of the COVID and what have you. They said it was an excuse, it wasn't a reason. They poo-pooed it and made it look like it was an act of mismanagement. Of course, we didn't do. It's not everything that we did right as a government, just like in the other government in the past. But I just pray that they will eat the humble pie after offering their explanation. If we get there, also be honorable enough to apologize for weaponizing those moments against us in the past. And then we should be able to move on as a party or as a country.
So a few messages here for you. I see that even though you're on the show, you're also very busy, replying to or responding to messages and all that.
I know what you're talking about.
I'll read it to you. I'll skip it. Peter says the same Ken said worse things about DMB, and then Musa comes to reply or respond to that particular message. Peter sent, what was the worst things he said about DMB? Tell us. And then Ebenezer says, I believe Ken, not NPP. Ernest, senior, we are focused. Then Nana Ampim says, please tell Kosi, for me that no matter what, Ken is what we want and nothing can change our minds. Upon all the insults on Ken, the base has come to stay. So you're one of the members saying, Nana Pendako. Now, if the NDC does so well, what will be that opportunity for the NPP in 2028?
First of all, I don't think we are expecting the NDC not to do well. you see, we should our policies should develop to a stage where the opposition don't come to power because the government has failed, but the opposition comes to power because they've presented a strong policy outlook that can indeed ensure continuation of governance. I think that is where, for me, I pray our politics gets to. It shouldn't be that, Akufo-Addo failed because that's why Mahama came, or Mahama failed that's why Akufo-Addo came, and that if Mahama fails, Bawumia will come. I don't think that's all. Certainly, we do admit that no party will be in power forever. You come and do your part, and when Ghanaians believe that you have to leave the scene, you leave the scene. I truly wish the NDC the best. I don't expect them to fail. I expect them to do well, but I expect that as a party we present a stronger continuation manifesto that will become so compelling that Ghanaians will not be able to resist. We present ourselves in a way that Ghanaians will build higher trust and higher confidence in us, as they've always been. I've always maintained and argued that the average Ghanaian holds the NPP to a higher account than any other political party.
And why is that?
NPP has been an elite party and conservative party. We've prided ourselves that we have the men. And if you look at even the leadership in time past, maybe not now, the big faces or the big names, they say NPP before they are catching for, but I'm sure you've heard all those.
Of course.
And
but that is not the narrative anymore. Things have changed.
Yeah, it's changing. I mean, I must be very honest. It's changing. So Ghanaians used to. It is also the more reason why.
Because I'm sorry, a lot of calls have come, but I didn't pay. So I'm sorry. Let me pick this particular one. Hello.